Good afternoon, everybody. It's Uncommon Sense number 36. Here with you today is Craig Kumanis and Dean Holmes for more tantalising talks and sensational ideas.
Well
Good
said,
afternoon,
Craig.
Dean. Well, that one just came straight off the cuff, Dean. Look, it's exciting for us today on Common Sense with our first topic that we want to cover off this afternoon. Actually came from a post that the great Dean Holmes made recently about breaking the chain, or not breaking the chain rather. And if you think about that, the very live example of that is Uncommon Sense, where we've made a commitment to do this every fortnight into our second year running now. And it hasn't mattered whether one of us wasn't here, which is normally me, or on a plane or interstate or in a car or wherever we haven't broken the chain. Uncommon Sense has come to you every single fortnight. But to unpack not breaking the chain a little bit more, it's a very good afternoon to my favourite co-host. He's my only co-host, but my favourite co-host, Mr. Dean Holmes.
G'day, Craig. Thank you. And hello to our listeners, both live on LinkedIn and listening at home afterwards, obviously on their favourite channel of getting podcasts. So a little bit about the breaking the chain. The context, I suppose, before we go into where it came from or potentially came from, is all linked to the power of consistency around habit formation. And so definitely the work that Craig and I have been talking about in terms of not breaking the chain is all about doing the activity or the behavior that you want to encourage consistently over time. Now, every second day is actually a version of the chain nonetheless. But what Craig and I have been talking about more specifically in terms of not breaking the chain is doing a piece of activity every single day for 100 days in order to build the muscle around that particular task. And so Uncommon Sense has not broken its chain, but it's 36 links long, which still is a consistency. And then we break it down to activities that we want to do every day for 100 days, for example. So I have a calendar. You can see it on screen professionally there, where I'm actually ticking off every single day that I do a post on LinkedIn. So I've had a goal that started on the 1st of May to post on LinkedIn every business day. Now, surprisingly, every business day means that it almost goes for 4 months in terms of activity. So for those that are following along at home, yes, I have been posting on LinkedIn every day, and I will continue to do so for another 45 days. And then I don't know what's going to happen after that. The other example that I did, and we'll talk to Craig about how he's going as well, is that I was doing running for every day for 100 days as well. Now, some of those were a few 100-meter sprints up the back alley of my house, and others were a little bit longer, but it was about the habit formation of getting back in. So, Craig, where are you at the moment? And we'll put a picture up to give you a little bit of context.
Yeah, so I just decided after I saw Dean's probably before I saw Dean's post, because he was mentioning it to me in an earlier time, that I was just going to walk every day for 100 days because I'd sort of let all the physical stuff go, getting older, sore shoulders, all those kind of things. But I thought walking is easy. And so I'm going to commit to walking every day for 100 days. And the photo Dean's got up there now was earlier this week when my wife actually looked at me and said, "You haven't been for your walk yet." Because, Dean, part of the chain thing is telling those you care about around you.
Oh, accountability, yes.
For accountability. And so that was at about 9:30 p.m. It was pitch black. It was freezing cold. I had the street lights there, but I can't break the chain.
Yeah, very good.
And, so I didn't. I went out for a walk in the freezing cold just to make sure that I keep the chinks going, mate. That's the important part.
Absolutely. And you touched on a really good point about the accountability as well. And so the idea of having an accountability buddy, whoever that may be in your life, but having someone that's willing and able to hold you accountable to that particular goal. And so the thing that you did straight after we started talking about it is you went off and printed off the 100-day piece of paper as well. It's on the wall. So Craig's able to tick off every single day. And I likened it to that. If there's anyone out there that goes through the activity of writing something on their to-do list that they've already done only to cross it out. And so that's a mental thing in itself of achievement that people do. Stella's a great example of writing things on her to-do list after the fact. But it's ticking things off of achievement. So the idea of not breaking the chain in the 100 days is actually to create that physical pen on paper, ticking something off every single day creates a little bit of momentum there as well.
Yeah.
Second thing,
what I loved about that, Dean, I was going to say, what I loved about that post when you did that post on LinkedIn, I got so many messages from a few of my other friends and colleagues going, I really like this concept. What's your chain? I wanted to know. Some of them had some suggestions I probably won't share on here of what I should try for 100 days. But, it was good because I think people realize that it feels daunting, but it's actually easy to implement and execute if you do it properly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And have that accountability as well. So interestingly, when you Google "Don't Break the Chain" and understand where it came from, there's a quite a strong link to Jerry Seinfeld, although he says himself that he didn't invent the concept, which is great. So it's just one of these anonymous things, as far as I'm concerned, but maybe it's from somewhere else. But he did it in relation to writing jokes and creating content, because all Jerry Seinfeld was doing was creating funny content, but content nonetheless. And so his goal was to do some every day. And so do some writing every single day and tick that off. And I think that if you go and look at other creatives and other professionals in any sense, there's a lot of effort that goes into forcing yourself to do it every single day as an example. So don't know a lot, but I know that J.K. Rowling, when she was writing one of the Harry Potter books, she actually stayed in a hotel for a long period of time where there was absolutely no distractions, which we'll get onto in a moment. But the idea was she was there to write every single day. So if anyone wants the template, I don't have it. It's in Microsoft Excel. Just go File, New, search for calendar, and you can get yourself a 100-day calendar or the next 4 months anyway, very, very quickly and easily.
Yep. Nice and simple.
Indeed. Over to the next issue, Craig, that we want in this theme of, I'll call it getting shit done, is delegation. So what's your personal journey been like of late that you've had the epiphany?
Yeah, it's funny. I was reflecting on the last financial year, and it's interesting because I've been through different roles where, some roles, 15 direct reports. So you get very good at delegation and getting people to do their stuff. And then, you go back to a much smaller team, if not just yourself, for a while, and you become that control freak again. And then you evolve into then having some more people come and work with you who you love, who you trust, who you absolutely implicitly believe in. Yet you get that habit about not being able to delegate again, and not being able to give work out in the best way possible. And I just sort of reflected on my last 12 months on that and went, there's things I need to let go of. There's things that everyone around me is brilliant at doing. And, I just need to relearn and retrain how to delegate things out. And then, it's relevant through advice practices too, Dean, is that, many advice practices started as an advisor with a client base. And then, a couple of drops later, you wake up and there's team members around you and offices and structures and things. And it's what do you let go of and what don't you let go of? But more so, how do you just get that mindset back, Dean, to let go?
Absolutely. So I think that the first thing around that I talk to everyone about is that when I talk to advisors, potentially some of them will say something along the lines of, yeah, I've got an associate or I've got a support staff and things like that. And I think that I think they're underutilized as an example. And so one of the things that I leave everyone to as a challenge is to every single day is to make sure that your team knows what they're doing. If you're the delegator, your team has to know what they're doing every single day, so that has to be planned almost before you start work. And think about it in the concept of an 8-hour shift, is that I'd love everyone to spend 30 minutes planning their day is one element of that. But within that 30 minutes, planning your staff's day, if you need to go to this extent, and if your staff are underutilized, you need to spend this time to give them more tasks, because everyone should be fully utilized all the way up the chain to the top of the pyramid. And so spending that time at the start of the day to go, what am I trying to achieve out of my day? And what things can I give to my team during the day? What things should I give to my team now so that they can have a great day and I can have a great day? And so obviously you can get better at this over time, Craig, by doing it on Monday for the entire week and all those kind of things. So your team knows what they're doing sooner rather than the morning. But you still have to do it the first thing in the morning, because if you do it at 11 a.m., your team members have still not received the work that you want to have as a priority for the day. And then the day's half over before they've got additional tasks for you. So planning the day is really, really important at the start. And so we learn these things and then we unlearn them over time, because we might get busy, which we'll get onto a little bit later, but we get distracted or there's other things going on in our world, and we forget the discipline of starting the day with what can I get off my plate, not what do I have to do now. Okay.
Yeah.
And Microsoft email, email in general, Google or Microsoft, is the great thing that we get sucked into that before we've even thought about what we need to do. And there's a saying which it gets attributed to someone, but everything in your email is someone else's priority coming onto you. And so the key is actually, before you open your email and work out what other people want of you, you need to work out what you want for the day and what you need to get done in the day. And then a little bit later, you can look at your emails. But once again, if you receive an email today and you reply tomorrow, that's okay. It's, the idea of the urgency of communication when we're not brain surgeons is laughable. So make sure when you're planning your day, don't be distracted by what other people are asking you to do. Yeah, and the last piece, Craig, that I have on delegation, and I create a little bit of analogy here between you and someone else. So I was lucky enough to go to a luncheon with Barack Obama when he was here in Sydney a little while ago, and so I'm comparing him to you, obviously, in this context.
No comparison.
Get excited. But the way in which he said it in relation to problems coming up the line is only the most complicated problems came to the top.
Yep.
Okay. And so what that is trusting your team to solve the vast majority of problems, but making it safe, easy, and comfortable to bring the most complicated problems to you. And when you're dealing with those problems at the top, you have to remember that your team has solved 99% of the problems before, but this one they need help with. And so never treat that as a negative. It's absolutely positive that everything's already been solved, but you will always be asked, Craig, to solve the most complicated problems in Paragem because you're head of Paragem.
Yep. No, I think that makes complete sense. And just to go back a step, then, where you're saying about planning for your day and all of that kind of thing.
Yep.
A good friend, and hopefully, we might get him on one day actually to talk to us, Andy Fell, who, we've had some interactions with, with business owners. He has 4 M's, which is 4 things you should do in the morning. I'm not going to give them all away, go and follow his page if you want to see it. But one of them, to the point where, I'll actually share 2 today of those. Because it's relevant to the next.
Is that because you can't remember all 4?
I know exactly 4 of them, mate, because you should be doing them if you believe in it, you should be doing it every morning.
Yeah.
But one of them is mind cleanse. And so it's to that point of, when you're up, getting down the things you want to achieve for the day on a piece of paper, which almost it comes back to accountability as well. But you're right, Dean, it's giving you that focus for the morning. So what do I need to do today? And what do I need others to do today?
Yeah.
And so that mind cleanse in the morning, I have found, is a really important part of setting up for that day. And I think it will help with the right delegation and the right sharing of activities and the like as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next topic, should we go to?
No, Craig, you were going to give 2. I was waiting for you.
No, I'm going to give the second one with the next topic because it's relevant to the next topic. So
okay, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, we're very well organized here at Uncommon Sense. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is the concepts of focus and distraction. They go hand in hand like oil and water. So over to you, Craig, and you can tell us your thing.
That was number 2. So number 2 that Andy talks about is what's called Mozart time. And Mozart time is by myself, for myself, with myself. No computers, no phones, preferably a piece of paper and a pen or pencil or something like that. And it's dedicated time, whether it's daily, weekly, whatever it might be, it's dedicated time for you to go and get absolute focus on what you want to do and to think about big picture items and all of those things. It gives you that time to go and do that. And apparently that's what Mozart used to do if he got a bit of painter's block or whatever is, he would go and find.
I don't know if he was a painter, but he might have got painter's block.
Writer, whatever he is. What does Mozart do? My brain is nuts this week, seriously. Composer, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, I get there, you know.
It's all right. It's your first time.
My first time, exactly. But it's that time on his own to compose.
Yeah.
If he was going to get blocked up, he went and took that time on his own. So yeah, Mozart time is another thing that Andy Feld talks about, which I think, you know, for focus is actually really, really important.
Yeah. So if we have a chat firstly about the concept of what people are asking about in terms of focus, I think the challenge, let's call it in this modern world, is there are a lot of distractions that are taking away from our focus in terms of everything that's going on. Like, you know, Craig and I are currently a distraction from potentially what you set up to do for the day, because you were watching, you were doing your work and then something popped up on LinkedIn. It said Craig Kamanis is live and you just jumped in and did it. And that's an example of an amazing distraction, I must say, but it is a distraction nonetheless that may have been derailing you from what you set as your intention for the day. And so we are constantly bombarded with this from a technology perspective, from a phone call, from an email, from a staff perspective, about all these different elements that are creating distractions in our day. And so some of them are absolutely necessary distractions, but how we deal with them professionally is what we're all coming against in a challenge. And it affects every age group, and we're actually all being distracted at all points in time. Craig just looked at his notes, of course, but we're all being distracted at different points in time. And the key to success is having more and more time in this focused world. And so one of the things that I use at different points in time is there's actually an app that you can get on your computer and phone. It's called Freedom, which stops applications working on your phone. So the idea that the socially media distraction apps that you might have on your phone can be turned off with this software, just stops the distractions that come up. And so that's I don't really think it's extreme. Extreme could be deleting those apps entirely, but it actually removes it from the day-to-day activity and allows you to focus. The second one that we use a lot in terms of just getting work done is it's called a Pomodoro, or a Pomodoro sprint. For those that know Italian, it's tomato. It was invented because you could have a little tomato timer of 25 minutes. And so the Pomodoro technique is simply doing the way in which you work in 4 Pomodoro sprints, so 4 lots of 25 minutes with a 2 or 3 minute break in between, and then going into another 25-minute sprint. Obviously, before you start the 4 25-minute sprints, you've actually worked out the jobs that you want to do in those sprints. Okay. Now, one of them can be checking your email. That's fine. But you're checking your email and doing emails for 25 minutes. When the timer goes off, you're stopping, you're standing up, you're walking around, you're coming back to another sprint, and you might be doing another job at that point in time. Okay. Yeah. What I've been talking to people about recently is when they start that job, whatever it is, let's just say it's drafting an SOA. So I know that an SOA will take more than 25 minutes, but you're saying, well, maybe that'll take 4 Pomodoros to get my SOA request done, for example. when you do that, the goal is to identify when and how you get distracted. Okay, so if you've agreed with yourself that you're going to do 25 minutes on this SOA request, and 4 minutes into it, you're checking your email, what you want to do is identify that you just got yourself distracted, note down that you checked your email, and then pull yourself back to the task. Okay,
Yep.
Go for another 4 minutes, realize that you've got distracted, note down whatever got you distracted, whether it was hungry, toilet break, the email, the phone, whatever it is, note it down, and then pull yourself back to that Pomodoro sprint all the way until the end. You'll be amazed at what you can achieve in 25 minutes if you do not get distracted. But we love it. You can get a little app for your. Sorry, you can get a little app for your phone.
What's that? Sorry?
I said you can get a little app for your phone. You can get it in your Chrome browser. You can just set a timer on your phone. It's very easy to implement. But my challenge for everyone listening is to try to do 4 a day. 4 lots of 25 minutes of uninterrupted focused work on 4 different things, or just it could be the same thing, but achieving 4 a day as a minimum would be amazing.
And I imagine this is one of those habits you need to create, right?
Correct.
Because your phone goes ping and it's a text message. There's this instantaneous need to answer that.
Correct.
And so it's how do you block all that stuff? And I guess not beat yourself up if you don't get it right the first couple of times, but again, it's just another habit to create.
It's the habit, and that's why I've not done it a lot, but it's the why I'm asking everyone to write down what distracted them is to start. It's probably less about what you write down and more that you're identifying that you were distracted. So this is a meditation for anyone that's done any type of learning to meditate. The whole concept is you're trying to be calm and centered in your body, but yet your mind will distract it, and you're meant to notice the distraction. Andy, there's another Andy that does this. You're meant to notice the distraction, but bring yourself back to the breath.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to do the same thing with the work, is that you notice the distraction, you note it down, because it might be important, it may not be, but you note it down. So you're building this library of reasons for your distraction, but you're trying to bring it back. And so in the future, if you build this muscle, I'm expecting that you'll get distracted, but you'll notice it and you'll just pull yourself back. You won't need to write it down, but you'll just keep pulling yourself back quicker and quicker. And then you're training your brain to focus on something for 25 minutes.
Great. Now, mate, can we just get on with the last topic? Because I'm busy.
Yeah. Oh, that's the segue of the year, ladies and gentlemen. So the last thing that we would like to talk about is the concept of being busy in a variety of different ways. And so I talk about this a lot. It becomes a little bit of a frustration. This could be the soapbox of discussion. If you talk to clients about the fact that you're busy, think about what that is signaling to your client if you tell them that you're really busy. Okay. And so what does it signal when I think about if my financial advisor is busy? He can't take any more clients. So why would I refer to a busy financial advisor so that they're busier, so that my service could be impacted if I refer to another advisor?
Yep.
So there's a busyness that is not the right signal for you to communicate to clients, but we default to it. So if I go, Craig, how's business? You'd be like, really good. I'm really busy. It's not really the thing that I want to know. It's not inspiring.
No.
But clients are inspired by the fact that you grow your business and you grow your success. And so you can communicate those things more than communicating that you're busy.
Yeah. And I think that even this morning, Dean, with what I said to you, like I really thought about it. I've got lots of great things on the go at the moment.
Correct. Yeah.
Which, in the old language would be, I'm pretty busy at the moment, Dean.
Yeah. I was like, don't you want to tell me about the great... Either you don't want to tell me about the great things. You could still say you've got great things. You got 3 great business opportunities on the go at the moment. You're super motivated. You spring out of bed. The other thing is you go, I'm really busy. I'm really busy at the moment. It's like, well, do you want to have this phone call with me? Like,
Yeah.
If you're really busy, should we just cancel Uncommon Sense? So it has an element of negativity around it, and it's not something to be proud of. You can have a full job and get a lot done every day, but you're not busy.
That's right.
Okay. What about, Craig, when your staff tell you that they're busy?
Well, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because, and I actually am hearing this a lot from practice principals at the moment, that, you know, that some of their stuff, I've got too much to do. You know, I'm overworked. I need more help. I need, like, a lot of that feedback is coming through at the moment. And it's funny because the principal sort of says, well, I can't see how that's happening. You know, we've got a good environment. We're sharing the load, we're doing the things. And I guess so that comes down to a bit of perception. But then again, it's about, how do you help your team members then plan their day? Let's just not assume they know how to structurally plan out a day to get good things done. Pomodoro, this, that, the other.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I do go and think about our university students joining the workforce as the first example. Now, whether
Yes.
what letter gen you want to attach to them, but the change from university to working is a significant change. And the two things that I always notice is that when you're at university, you've got a start, a middle, and end of a subject, and then you
Yes.
celebrate, which is called a holiday. So there's that culture of start, middle, and end with in relation to, and then a break. When you get into work, yes, you do get holidays, but the work is never ending in business.
No.
There's not a start, middle, and end. There's just a volume of work that's coming through. So we need to teach and educate younger people about that change, because most of the time they haven't done it. Even when they work at McDonald's, the end of their shift, it doesn't matter, because there's someone else that can pick up the production of the burger, as the example. Even if you're halfway through making the burger, they can take it on. When you work in financial planning businesses, it's a little bit different to that no one's going to take on your work the moment you finish your shift. You get there the next day and you're just continuing it on and on and on, and that the volume keeps going. So we've got to train and teach people around that. But also, it's the use of the task management tools is the key, is to go, if you're using Advisor Logic, so as the example, to manage your tasks, then you work with your manager when you are busy. Okay, when you've got full. And so what the definition probably of busy should be is, I have more tasks due today than there are hours in my day.
Yeah. Okay.
And so if I've got more tasks due today than there are hours in the day, then I need to involve my manager to help me prioritize. Okay. And that's how you can show your manager that you are, in inverted commas, busy, that you have more tasks due today than what you have the capacity to do. That's why you share that with your manager. And then your manager's job essentially is to help you prioritize the work, because they have a broader context of the entire state of play. So they will look at it and say, those two tasks can be delayed because Mary Jones is actually sick and she's not coming in for that meeting. Or the manager can go, actually, I'll take those two tasks and I'll give it to your colleague. Or you can do those two things tomorrow, because I'm looking at tomorrow's day and you have less tasks than hours in the day tomorrow. And so why feel overwhelmed today when you can work with your manager to just move two tasks to the next day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
at some point in time, you build that muscle, Craig, and you do it yourself. But there's no need to be overwhelmed and feel full on your own. You work as a team to do it. And everyone's doing things like stand-ups and huddles and all of these type of things. But I challenge you to have the honest real or honest conversations in those meetings, as opposed to going, yeah, I've got 3 tasks to do today, I'll be all right. If everyone's not telling the truth in those stand-ups, they're not actually delivering any value to anyone in the community.
Yeah. And it just so happens to work out, Dean, that if that's what's happening with our team members, if we go back to the beginning of Uncommon Sense today, and if you're delegating properly, if you're getting people focused and giving them clarity and no distractions, then that term of busy should come up less and less.
Yeah, absolutely.
You should be able to work through all of those
It's
things.
full
I just thought that
circle
might
in
be a
terms
nice
of
way to
this.
wrap it up for you.
Yeah, it's very well wrapped up in that context. So and this is all obviously anyone listening that's not in financial planning could take a lot from today's episode.
Right.
So we've gone broader, ladies and gentlemen, than financial planning today. But the reality, this is learning how to work, and it's okay to relearn this at every different age and stage because the world is changing. I can guarantee when there's Microsoft Copilot and ChatGPT and AI in 5 years' time, we're all going to have to relearn how to work in that new environment, just like we're learning how to rework in this current environment, just like our parents had to deal with fax machines, which we still do have to do sometimes, Craig. But, there's a variety of things that everyone's had to learn and change, and we're just learning to work in the new environment. And you don't have to do it your own, but you just got to plan.
Yep.
There's Google the 5 Ps or the 6 Ps about prior preparation prevents a poor performance, I believe it is. So that's what we can leave you with.
And Dean, I'm not distracted. We've been talking for that long that my screensaver just turned on. So I had to unlock ourselves again. So that's probably a good reminder to go. You've hit your uncommon sense time for today.
30 minutes is it, ladies and gentlemen. So thanks for listening. For those that have stayed on LinkedIn Live till the end, thank you. Put your name or say thank you in the chat so we know who you are that sticks around all the way to the end.
So we know who we distracted today.
Yep. We've got 3 people, and for anyone that puts their name in, there's a special prize for those people that put their name in today. So thanks very much in advance. And Craig, see you in a fortnight.
Will do. See you later, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.